So welcome to the latest instalment of the Keeper's Cottage videos, and something a bit different again from us this time. So today we've got the Series 3 out. There's the dog, and we're working on a classic tractor. So you'll see to the right of the screen you've got a 1953 David Brown, and that one doesn't belong to me, it belongs to my uncle who's lurking over there in the background. But this belongs to me. This is a 1953 Massey Ferguson 35 with a 3-cylinder Perkins diesel engine in it. Acquired this off a chap quite local, and as you can see, it's a few shades of blue, shall we say. Now, what I'll do is I'll put a couple of videos on of this running and how it was when I first got it. I have started the strip down process, so obviously both the wings or mud guards are off at the minute, and the bonnet's off as well, and I've actually ordered new tin work because the tin work that was on was pretty battered. Mechanically, this tractor's absolutely spot on, but as you can see, aesthetically, it's not the best. So it's had a new radiator on in the past at some point. I think it's had a fuel tank as well. I've just put a brand new battery on. It's had new dials and gauges, and actually only about kind of 10 minutes before starting to record this video, I've ordered a full restoration kit. So the restoration kit comes with 2 rear wings or mud guards again, brand new seat plate with a seat cushion, brand new bonnet with all the associated grills and decals and everything, 2 brand new foot plates, because as you can see here, this one's started to rot through this side. And then it comes with a few other bits and bobs, a couple of lights for the front. I'll need to put some lights on the back ready for the tractor runs, etc. PTO, etc. Hydraulics all work really well. It's got a T-bar on the back as well. And I've also bought for it a wooden tipper trailer, a very early Bateson tipper trailer to go on the back, again for when we do the tractor runs and classic shows. So that's a brief introduction, and what we'll do is we'll kind of put a couple of videos on of it, like I say, of it driving, and then we'll run through each stage as we go through it. We're going to do some service items on this. We're going to do some spraying as well and get this looking absolutely bang on. So stay tuned and thanks for watching. So before we do any more of the resto, I thought I'd just show you how she drives. Close it down a bit so hopefully you can hear me. So like I said, 1953 3-cylinder Perkins. The 3-cylinder superseded the 4-cylinder because the 4-cylinders were a little bit more difficult to start. So obviously I'm on private ground at the minute, hence why no mud guards or anything. But yeah, the 4-cylinders were a little bit difficult to start, so the 3-cylinder Perkins superseded that, and it just runs fantastic, absolutely brilliant. So I'm about to drop the oil, the engine oil and the hydraulic oil at the back. So it's always best practice to warm it up first, hence why up and down the track a few times, get it nice and warm, and then we'll drop the oils in a few minutes. And just enjoy being on a tractor. So still on day 2, a bit further down now in the strip down. We've managed to get the lower pulley off, ready for the new seal. What we had to do was put it up against the wall, put it into gear, stand on the brake, and get a good bar on the end of another bar with the correct socket on. Give it a bit of a tap with the hammer, and it undid and come off. That's great. We noticed there's a lot of oil residue around the top of the rocker cover, so we've took the tank off. To get the tank off, on the opposite side of the tank that sits here, you've got your fuel on and off, and there's a pipe that comes across here and joins, and then you've got 2 return pipes that come up here that go onto the top of the return valve on top of the tank, and there's the other one that we just said about. So once you've undone those 3, there was then a couple of bolts here and here on the bracket that hold it on at the back. There should be a bolt at the front, but it just had a zip tie on. So relatively easy to get the tank off. We got quite a bit of diesel now, so it was a 2-man job. But as you can see, now that's off, I've got good access to the top of the rocker. So we're going to clean all this off now to make sure no debris goes inside. And just looking around the other side, here's where you can see the 3 heater plugs and injectors, obviously with it being a Perkins. So yeah, it's got good access. It's absolutely filthy. It's horrendous. But after a good clean up, it should come up nice and obviously ready for paint. So hopefully that'll give you an indication as to how to get the tank off should you need to. Okay, so welcome back to day 2 of the restoration, and we've been working this now for a couple of hours, and we've done the gearbox fluid. There is a separate video on that, so if anyone wants to know how to change the hydraulic or gearbox transmission fluid on a Massey Ferguson 35, as well as the filter, have a look for the separate video. Just going through the process now of scraping years and years of muck off the engine block, and then what we'll do is we'll degrease this before we put some petrol on to clean it down before we pressure wash it and get it ready for paint. The tread plates are now off as well, and as before, the mud guards as well as the seat's now been removed. One of the reasons why the oil in the back of here was so bad is because the gaiters around the gear stick is perished, and therefore water will seep in there and straight into the transmission. So something to bear in mind. I have got a couple of new ones for this. What else have we done today? Not a huge amount today really, apart from fettling. I have put a new air hose on because that needed doing. The issue we've got at the minute is there's an oil leak from the front pulley, from the seal. So we're trying to work out how to get the dog nut off that, so we can pull the pulley off and repair the seal, because you can see all the crud underneath it's coming down. And I think there's a little bit of a, in fact there is, there's also a leak on the rocker cover. But apart from that, as you'd expect with every vehicle of this age to have a few leaks here and there, it really is mechanically spot on. So looks are deceiving, you know. It looks tatty and old. Well, it is old, but it certainly looks tatty. But once we've got the new tin work on this, it's going to look absolutely great. So yeah, pleased with the progress. Just deciding really whether to get some new rims or not. I really would have liked to have kept these, but I don't know if you can see this on camera, but the rim is starting to split in places, and especially around this side as well. Yeah, look, now that it could be welded, but the question is it worth welding? I'm not so sure. So I'm probably going to get a new set of rims, front and back, and we do need some new tyres anyway, because these are quite severely perished. So yes, that's day 2. Obviously we'll carry on with the strip down, carry on with kind of guiding through bits and bobs as we go through, but that's it for today. So we've managed to get the front bottom pulley seal out. If you have a look at this, what we ended up doing, and this was a tip that I got off YouTube, was to drill 2 small pilot holes, use 2 big thick wood screws, screw them in, and then with a pair of mole grips and a persuader bar, we were able to kind of pull it a little bit at a time, plenty of lubrication, and eventually she came out. To put the new one on, which is obviously now sitting behind this bit here that you can't see, what we did is, again, some oil as lubrication, offer it up so it's nice and flush. If you slide the bottom pulley back on, there's a locator key on the actual crankshaft itself. If you slide the pulley on, put the dog nut back in, start tightening it up, the pulley itself will push the seal into new position, and it'll do it so it's nice and flush. So the front pulley seal has now been changed. The diesel tank's back on, she's running. She's checking for oil leaks around the rocker cover top, and also down at the back of the pulley. And I'm pleased to say she's clean as a whistle. So I'm going to let her run now for about 10-15 minutes, let the oil warm up, check all the levels, because we've done the hydraulic oil now and the engine oil, We've done all the filters, ticking over nicely. And then the plan is that the next steps after today, really, we're taking for a bit of a ride in a minute, a bit of a drive down the farm and the track. And then after this, I'm actually going to take it to my father-in-law's, where he's got a big steam cleaner, and we're going to use some geyser to spray on the block and get all this residue off before we start painting the block. Great. And then she'll be ready for the new tin work. So the David Brown behind, that's finished. As you can see there, look. So yes, we'll crack on now on this, but that's a really good result, that, really pleased. Quick look underneath, no drops of oil, that's all obviously old stains. But yeah, really chuffed with that. So just before we nip off on a quick test drive, we're just going to recap what we've done, and this will be the end of part one of this video. We've done the rear axle oil and filter. So again, on the 35 3 cylinders, there's a filter that sits behind this housing here for the PTO. And as I said, there is a separate video for that. We've done the engine oil and filter. We've done the bottom lower pulley seal. I've done a rocker cover seal as well. I've always used a little bit of the blue Hylamar on the rocker cover, if you can see it there. It looks a bit crispy around the edge, but actually just on the underside where the cork gasket is, I always find that it tends to seal them well. We've gone around and greased everything, freed all the grease nipples, the front kingpin as well. Tidied a few things up here and there. So really mechanically now, apart from we need to adjust the brakes at the back, she's kind of pretty much sorted. Starts really well, starts on the button. So just to finish part one off, we'll just show a little bit of video of kind of driving down the field in a second. And then part two, really we'll start degreasing all the engine block and starting to get everything ready for paint. And then we'll go from there.